Hello everyone, my name is Hisham. I'm the owner of Clemson Aeronautics, where we make the riveting and dimpling tools. This will be the main introduction video for my company, where I will present all the tools that we manufacture and show you the tricks on how to use it to make your build a lot easier and maybe cut your build time of your airframe in half by just following a few simple instructions on how to do the dimpling and riveting. It will help you tremendously. Now, a message to our international customers, specifically in Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. If you try to purchase something on our website and the shipping is kind of unrealistic, please get in touch with me via email. I also have WhatsApp on the phone number that has been presented at the beginning of this video. We also make video calls where I can see what you have and what you're building and give you better advice with what kind of tools that you need. To our previous, current, and future customers, I purchased this foot-operated air valve from Amazon for $15. It also comes with a guard for just a few more dollars. It works extremely well in combination with your pneumatic squeezer, with the card one and the CAD one. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. This valve comes with 3 ports. You just plug this one with a plug. The air coming in goes to this one, air coming out to your squeezer from this one, and you just have to secure the trigger on your squeezer in the pull position, and when you press it with your foot, it operates really well. This valve comes with a locking mechanism, so when you push it down, it locks in the open position. And this is the locking mechanism here on a plastic piece. You just get a needle nose, break it off. You don't need it. Now, this is sold on Cleveland's website for $255. You don't need that. $15 is all you need. I am going to leave the link for this foot-operated air valve in the description of this video. Now, how is this going to help you? It's going to free both hands for you. When you're handling material that is big and it's all over the place, you know, I like 2 tables. Your card one or CAD one is on a cart, and I have the videos on how to build these carts. So your parts will be on the table level with the card one or the CAD one system in between, and you can move it back and forth. Now you have 2 free hands you can hold the material with and operate the valve by foot. If you are building an experimental aircraft like the RV or the Sling, you're gonna need a tool with a 22-inch throat to dimple the skins and the large parts. And those are the tools that's available on the market today. The C-frame, the DR-DD2, the CAD one, and the card one. This is the C-frame, and it is actually a mock-up for it that I built out of wood, so you can have a visual presentation to it. And it costs $278.95 on Aircraft Spruce, and a better version of it on Cleveland's website for $325. The next in line is the DR-DD2, and it is $550 on Cleveland's website versus $569 on Aircraft Spruce. Then we have the CAD one system. This is Clemson Aeronautics Dimpler, and it costs $550, which is the same like the DR-DD2, except it operated by the squeezer, so you don't have to do this anymore. Then the card one system. Clemson Aeronautics riveting and dimpling tool. That means it can dimple and it can rivet. The price on it on our website is $1,000. Quite often we put it on sale. As a matter of fact, if you are starting a build, you're gonna need yokes. And I have package deals where you can buy this tool with the yokes at a very, very deep discount. Now you have to make a decision which tool to buy. First, you need to understand how it works. Now, some of you already have this tool and know what I'm talking about. The way this tool works is with the hammer, and you put your material underneath where you are going to dimple. Then the dies, there's a die in the bottom and a die in the ram. You can't just hammer it and it will be flying down and slams down there. You have to pull this with one hand, pull it down till the dies touch, then you hit it with the hammer twice. And if you didn't hear the proper thump, that means you didn't create the proper dimple. You have to hit it a third time. Now, how about on the end? So you have to go inside. This has happened to be just a narrow skin of the elevator. There is other skins that's much bigger. There's other things that is so long, like the tail cone. This tool have to be secured to the table right above a beam. So when you hammer it, it actually transfers the hit to the dies. No hands on the material whatsoever, because both hands is on the tool. Is this the tool that you want to work with for the next probably 2 years? Because so many dimples, that means you're going to have to use this hammer twice on each one, so you're looking at hitting this about 50,000-60,000 times. I read something on Van's Air Force about somebody that's saying that this is the way to go, and he has tendonitis because he used the hammer so many times. I really can't understand it, and he's recommending that to someone. He says, I would go with the C-frame and a hammer before, because that produces the best dimple. And if it wasn't me getting tendonitis because the C-frame and the hammer, I would still use it. That's why he got a DR DD2, where he goes like this instead. How about this kind of material? This is the skin for the horizontal stabilizer. There's 2 of those on each airplane, and those need to be dimpled as well. So how are you going to do that with a C-frame? It will have to go this way. So let me turn this setup around so you can see what I'm talking about. You probably have to stand on the other side. So this is how you set up to do the dimpling on a skin like this. Both hands are busy. One on the ram, pushing it down till the dies touch. The other hand is using the hammer. Who's going to hold the skin? And some of the skins have such a deep V, you really have to open it up to get close. And even with the hammer itself, you're getting close to the edge. I don't think this is the tool of choice today. It might have served its purpose in the past. You do not have time for this. You got an airplane to build and you need quick progress. So I really don't think I could have built an airplane using this tool. Let's explore the DR-DD2. With the DR-DD2, the first thing that you need to understand that is so important, that you have to apply so much pressure to create that dimple manually by hand. If it is not fastened to a table of some sort, it will come up, it will tilt up. And most people that you see on YouTube building an airplane and using this tool right here, you can see them going, as a matter of fact, some of them are sitting down like this and they're going like this. You couldn't possibly be putting enough pressure to put a dimple in there. And certainly, even if you're standing up and you're going like this. Now, one hand is on the tool. You're holding the material with one hand. So you have to make a decision where you're going to fasten the tool. Then you start to get the material is flying in the air. The material not level where you're dimpling have consequences that I will explain to you later in this video. So let's try a different kind of material with the V-shaped, like the horizontal stabilizer skin. With this type of material that you have to work with, one hand is on the tool, the other hand, only one hand, will be holding the material. So how are you going to go in there? Okay, let's go in from the other side. So I have to go like this, so the whole skin is flying in the air now. And going like this. Can you imagine operating the handle to squeeze a proper dimple? Doing this setup, I mean, it's quite difficult. The other choice, which people will tell you, is put the male die on top and the female on the bottom. Okay, I'm with you. First of all, the table is going to be in the way. Okay? So you have to bring the tool out a little bit. And if it's a deep V, you have to bring it out a lot. So let's bring the tool just so we can experiment with that. Like this. Now the tool, the material is flying in the air. It could be like this, it could be like this, and now you're going to dimple it. And also, bear in mind, you have one hand here. The other, you're holding the material only with one hand. Not only that, when you lower your die, you have to aim for the hole. And if you miss it and you go down, you're going to create a hole. That's how difficult this tool is. And the amazing thing is that this tool have the same price as the CAD one system. They are both $550. So let's explore the CAD one system from Clemson Aeronautics. Let's assume this is your two-car garage where you're building your airplane. These shelves right here is where all your parts are instead of all the machines and everything. So you have a few shelves, you have the parts set up in there. And you have this very lightweight tables on wheels. The CAD one and the card one can fit in a cart like I have showed in previous videos, and you can find it on my YouTube channel how to build those carts. And the cart is pretty much set in between these two tables that have this extended surface on top. You have a very long material. These tables have wings right here, and all you had to do is lock the wings open like this. Now you have a very long table. I'm gonna just open this up a little bit, and I'm gonna bring my CAD 1 system out, and I'm gonna unfold it. And believe me, you can probably design a table that's a little better than this one, primarily in the lock-in position of the machine. This concept, you do not have to bolt to a table because there is a squeezer here. When you pull the trigger, you're not pulling or pushing anything, or you're not hammering anything. So here's the CAD 1 is out of the cart. And now we put the squeezer on the CAD 1. We use a small riveting die with the ram of the squeezer. So we put the ram here and push down over here a little bit. Then we install the squeezer. And we put the pins in. Then we plug the air. Now you are ready to use the CAD 1 to dimple anything you want. So it's hooked up to the foot pedal, and I have secured the trigger in the pulled position with just a little bit of electrical tape, and now all I have to do is press with my foot. So how do I deal with that with the skins? The skin is laying flat on the table, perpendicular to my ram. That way I ensure that the dimple is perfectly straight, and is so important. Again, I will explain later on this video how important it is and how it will save you time in the future. The skin is on the table. The machine is free to move. Now I'm having a hard time because the hose is in the way of the machine, but this is how it's supposed to be. The material still lays flat. The whole thing lays flat, and wherever I go, all I have to do is push with my foot. So both hands is on the skin, then I go to the next hole, then I keep it flat, then I go to the next hole, both hands on the material. That is the concept of this machine. Now, you're going to say, well, what about the V-shaped material? Let's get to that. Both hands are free to hold the material. The machine doesn't need my hand to operate. So here's the beginning of the material. I can be completely on the edge and still flat on the table. And if I want to, I can use both hands to press down. And my foot pedal is near me. I am going to go like this, and I'm going to next hole, next hole. How about close to this surface right here? Here is the last hole, which is closer to the V. I am going to go all the way to the end, press with one hand, and hold the material with the other hand, and that's how easy it is. I finished my dimpling job, and I will just remove my squeezer from the machine, get my ram out, and get my riveting die out. And I am going to hold my machine back inside its cart. And I'm going to stow it and now I have my garage back. And if I'm working on this table with long pieces and everything, I can still fold the wings on the table. I will also put the link for that joint right here. It's very inexpensive. I think I spent like $60 or something on these joints here for the wings on the tables. So this you need to set up shop before you start your build, because you don't have room in your garage. If you already started on the build, you probably know half of what I just said today. I think it will be well worth it for you to stop your build, get your shop reorganized to accommodate this new tools, and then start again. Why? Because it will save you so much time in the future. It will be well worth it to take a day and reorganize your shop again. As far as the Card 1 machine is concerned, it's the same thing like the CAD 1 machine. You unfold it from its cart, put it in its position, and you dimple with it identically to what the CAD 1 would do. Except this will rivet as well. It does a wonderful job on the stiffeners, for instance, on the rudder, all the stiffeners. And as far as the number 4 rivet is concerned, you can put these braces and rivet the doublers, and there is a lot of those you're gonna have to rivet. So it does a wonderful job when it comes to the number 4 rivet as well. So if you haven't bought a tool yet, I sincerely recommend the card one machine. So you can rivet the stiffeners. It will give you an incredible results from the outside. Not just the ease of use. The rivets from the outside of your control surface, like the rudder or the flaps or the ailerons, it makes a huge difference. So if you haven't bought your tools yet, I recommend the card one. If you are very good with the rivet gun, you can do back riveting. The CAD one as a dimpling tool will do marvelous for you. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. So some of you already have started and they have a DR-DD2. And this is when the conversion kit comes into play. You can just remove the mechanism of the DR-DD2 and install this with just 4 screws. And you can go to the introduction videos on that and see how easy it is to install. And you can get you a foot pedal and you're in business. The other option is to sell this thing for $400 on Vans Air Force or whatever site you're going to sell it on, and use this $400, add another $150 and buy you the CAD one. Better yet, buy a card one machine so you can continue your build. The card one comes with 3 pins. One for riveting with the clear plastic piece here that pushes down on the material while you're riveting, and it's nice that it's clear so you can see through it. And a dimpling pin, which just holds the dies for dimpling. And a trailing edge pin. You can see it does have an angle on it. So this would work with the rudder, flaps, and ailerons. So you don't have to buy the one from Cleveland, which costs like $36 or something like that, and it comes free with the card one. The CAD one, on the other hand, comes with the because it's just a dimpling system, so it comes with the dimpling pin that holds the dies. Let's talk a little bit about the difference between all these 4 tools. The first one is the C-frame, where you have to use the hammer. Are you measuring how hard you are hitting your material with this hammer? No, you can't. You're human. So consistency is not there. After you rivet the airplane, even if you're very good at it, you will see some differences between one rivet and the other on the skin from the outside. Now, the DR-DD2. Now, you can get consistency, and that's what this machine is all about. If you go beyond center, so if you're just doing one of those numbers, no, there is no consistency there whatsoever. It depends on how far down you want. If you go beyond center, yes, it will be consistent. But you have another problem, where if you have a V-shaped skin, you would have to flip the material over, and you'd have to have the male die on top, not the bottom. And it packs little metal chips into the die. And also the position of the material. So in both of them, positioning the material is very important, as you're about to find out from all the drawings that I made for you, so I can explain that. This machine and this machine, the CAD one and the card one, you leave your material on the tables and you move the machine to it. It stays flat. When you pull the trigger, it comes down to a certain spot every time, and then you let go, it goes back up. It's accurate as your squeeze. So repeatability is 100%, and you don't have to put an effort into it or anything like that, or do any kind of guesses. You pull the trigger, comes down to a certain spot, and it's done. And it's perfect every time. Now, as far as the card one is concerned, when it comes to riveting, especially the stiffeners, it will come down to the same spot every time and it will stop. So all your rivets will be identical. So when you flip that flight control and look at the rivets outside, it is perfect. Now I have to explain to you what happens when you dimple with these machines, the difference between them and what you need to do to improve actually not just the dimpling, the riveting as well. Folks, I must apologize for the way I'm going to do this presentation, but this is the best I could, and I hope you benefit from that. Even if you don't buy anything from me, just think about what I'm about to tell you throughout your build. In a perfect world, this is a skin and this is another skin that meets it, or perhaps a rib. In a perfect world, these are punched by a CNC punch. And believe me, it's perfect. Vans will send you the material, and in the instruction it will tell you to assemble these ribs together and with that spar, and then put the skin and cleco it together and all that stuff, and it will fit perfectly. Then you're supposed to mass drill them. You've seen that. Then take them apart, clean them up, and deburr it, dimple it, prime it. Then you're gonna assemble it together with clecos, but leave some clecos out so you can start riveting. And all of a sudden, it does not come together clean. Now, originally, you were thinking that when you dimpled it, it will come out just like that, in a perfect form. But that is not what usually happens when you are not very careful dimpling. So what happens if you don't position the material perfectly perpendicular to your dies? The dies meet with an angle. It starts pinching on one side more than the other. So the actual dimple is not going down straight. It's going with an angle a little bit. Then you move the skin and it starts to get heavy on this side, so it's leaning on this side, so the other dimple is going this way. So one is going this way and one is going this way. And I'm exaggerating that so you can understand the concept. So when you put them together, you were thinking, when you put the rivet in there, it's supposed to look like that. Two skins, or skin and a rib, dimpled perfectly. The rivet goes through, you squeeze it, and everything is hunky-dory. But what happens if you're not careful while you're dimpling and comes down with an angle? Please take a close look at this. Like one is dimpled to one side and the other one is to the other side, so the dimples don't actually line up. And this here is closer together than these. So it doesn't fit anymore. Now, what happens when you put a rivet in there? Now, the rivet might not actually go in there smoothly. And the skin is so thin, so you're gonna bend the rim a little bit and shove it in there. Now, you are hoping that it is perfectly perpendicular in there, but even if it is, the head of the rivet is not going to lay flat inside the dimple. It will be cocked to one side or the other. So what you got, if you look at this diagram right here, you see one rivet is leaning this way, the other rivet is leaning this way. Even if you manage to squeeze both those rivets without tipping them, the shop head is going to be tilted to one side or the other. Some of you they just want to slap the guy. Even that, when you look from the outside now, it looks not so good at all. Because now I exaggerated a little bit so you can get the idea of what I'm trying to say. But even if you are so careful with one of those, it depends on you actually looking at it to see if you have it level or not. So why take the chance on something like that? It is just, as a matter of fact, it is easier to do it the right way than it is to do it, let me say, maybe not the wrong way, but not so accurate way. So when you're done with your work, why don't you have a beautiful airplane? Just, if you have the consistency and the perfection, that doesn't take, actually takes less time than doing it with those two. Most 80% of your problems is going to come from that, because the rivet is not sitting properly and the holes don't quite line up. You try to rivet it anyway and the rivet tips. So let's say out of 100 rivets, you tip one. I have to drill it out. How long does it take to drill a rivet out? And how many of them are you going to drill out? And then how much damage are you going to do to that hole? Is it going to get so big where you have to get an oops rivet? Why make it harder for yourself? As I said before, you need a card one. But if you are good with a rivet gun, you can get a CAD one for the same price of a DR-DD2. And forget this headache. Have your dimples perfect so you lower the chances on ruining your material when you rivet it. And you'll have the consistency when you look on the outside of your flight controls. They all look identical. And as I said, if you have one dimple going this way and the other one going this way and all that stuff, the material is not gonna lay flat on each other. You gotta crush the material to make it lay flat. When you're building an airplane, your objective is to build a beautiful airplane in a record amount of time and save a little bit money while you're doing it. Now, saving money on the airframe or the engine or the propeller or the instruments is not possible. You're not going to haggle with those guys. They have a price, you paid, or you don't get your stuff. So the war on Vance Air Force is about the price of the tools, because these are the companies, so many of them wants to sell you the same thing. And they come up, they have an army of salespeople sitting everywhere trying to convince you to buy their tools. So what we want to talk about now is the amount of time. The quality, there's unsurpassed quality in the CAD one and the card one, because it's going to give you the consistency that we talked about as far as the dimpling is concerned. So you will do better job actually putting the airplane together. It will just fit together because everything is done perfectly. So that's the first part. And then now we'll talk about time. This consumes time. You have no free hands, and you have to put the hammer down, move your material, pick up the hammer, hit it twice, maybe 3 times, and then to the next hole. Now, DRDD2 takes half of the time of the C-frame. You press it down, then you leave it this way, and then you move to the next one and the next one. So it takes half of the time. What about the CAD one and the card one? I showed you earlier in this video where you can use the foot pedal. So now both hands is on the material. With your foot, you dimple, you let go, it raises. Next, next, next. So literally, one of those 2 machines for dimpling will take half of the time of the DRDD2, where DRDD2 takes half of the time of a C-frame. So you're saving 75% of the time from the C-frame and half of the time from the DRDD2. Now you have to make the decision as far as which tool you are going to buy. The best combination of tools for dimpling is CAD 1 or a Card 1 machine and the 1-inch Super Duty yoke. What is a 1-inch Super Duty yoke? It's basically a 1-inch yoke, and it have holes here, and it comes with this tab with it. You know, it's not extra or anything. So you put it together, and it comes with a couple of screws, flathead screws, that you screw them together. And when you screw them together, it looks like this. So what do you do with it? You put it this way, and you bolt it to your table, where it's hanging out like this. Now, you have the ribs. This is a rib dimpling tool. You have the ribs, so now you're holding it straight and you're sitting in a chair in front of it with your foot pedal or with your hand going like this, but you have a reference on the edge of the table so you can hold your ribs straight and do it with your foot or with your hand, and it goes really fast. Where did this tool come from? It actually came from an original rib dimpling option that came with the earlier versions of the Card 1. The Card 1 have a adapter that goes in here, which actually this is the one for this machine right here. It goes in here, so you put that on your squeezer, then the squeezer goes in here, and there's a couple of pins, dowel pins, that holds it into place. So earlier version of this was just the rib dimpling option. You put the squeezer with the adapter, you put it on here, and you mount this to a bench and do that. And I'll show you a short clip on how fast and how accurate you can go with this tool. Of course, you can't buy this anymore because I stopped making it, but if you get the 1-inch yoke, which you're gonna need a 1-inch yoke at some point or another. So you mount this and you use it the same thing, just like what you're gonna see in this short clip, and you can go really fast. Everybody that bought this tool swears by it. It's just beautiful. There's another thing about this that you need to know. This yoke is 1 inch thick. It does not give. No, zero flex. Okay? So what happened
when you dimple something with this, you can pour all the power of your squeezer into here. That will give you the maximum 3,000 pounds of pressure on that rib. Why is it so important? It will give you the perfect dimple. Just like those guys that are screaming out there on the internet about how great the C-frame is because of the impact it gives you. Well, this will do it with consistency because of your squeezer. You don't have to guess. That's one thing. Why is it important to have the ribs dimpled accurately? I tell you, think about this. The rib material is usually thicker than the skins that's going to be riveted to it. Now, if you have the rib dimple not correct, and the skin is thinner material, when you put a rivet in there and squeeze it, which one is going to lean to the shape of the other? It will be the skin because it's thinner material. You squeeze it, it will take the form of the dimple that's on the ribs because it's thicker material. So if you dimple that wrong, you will form the skin to the wrong dimple that's on your rib. And it will look ugly. And believe me, if you do a good job on dimpling the ribs, your airplane will look much better. Besides, it will go a lot faster, like you're going to see in this video clip. This is the hole that I dimpled. I put a rivet in there and I checked it out, and it looks pretty good. So now we can continue riveting this part. Dimpling this part. And we have to go in the hole, then come down with it. So now all, I guess, 8 holes are dimpled and they look pretty good. So we're going to continue dimpling this type of part till I finish all of them for both sides, the right elevator and the left elevator. As far as riveting yokes, our no-hole 4-inch riveting yoke is the best in the industry. If you want to compare that to a regular yoke, the thickness is just unbelievable. It is so heavy, very, very little flex on it. And with the 4-inch reach, you're going to need one of those, especially when you get into flight controls like the rudder and the elevator in these areas right here. And the rudder up here, you're going to need to go down more than 3 inches, so you're going to need that. But what's unique about this tool, not just that it is so much thicker and sturdier than any other riveting yoke, it's the unique shape of the nose. It's much narrower than other tools. For instance, right here, this is the vertical stabilizer. First thing you're gonna build. When you get to the hinges, there is rivets here right next to the hinges, so close. You're gonna have to bucket if you don't have one of those. But this tool is designed to go in there so easily and just squeeze this rivet. Now the longeron yoke, and it is so important. Longeron yokes that you see on the market today, they are so thin and they flex a lot. And the shape here, this shape is so long. You gotta get into areas like the bottom part of the rudder, and you need to go in deep to try and squeeze a rivet, and you won't be able to do it with this yoke. Compared to our yokes, first of all, our yoke is the best in the industry, hands down. A lot less flex. As you can tell, the thickness is quite a bit different. Now, if you put the two yokes right next to each other, you can see that our yoke, this distance here is a lot less. So it can go into areas where there is an obstacle here and you're trying to rivet. This yoke will go in and do it, and that's the bottom part of the rudder, as I mentioned before. You will run into these things in the airplane every once in a while. I'm not saying all the time, but every once in a while. This yoke, this is today, in today's price on our website, this is $150. This is $170. Which one do you want to buy? So it's up to you. If you want to just go with the crowd and get something that you don't know about, but it's up to you. And folks, this is our 3-inch yoke with a hole. Compared to our competition, there is no comparison in quality or strength. Obviously, this one flexes a lot less. As a matter of fact, it flexes just a little bit when you're doing like a number 4 rivet. The shape is different if you want to compare it to each other, of course. It gives it a little bit more rigidity in the corners here. So it's not just the strength. That's one thing. The other thing is this have 2 holes in it. If you decide not to buy our Super Duty 1-inch yoke, for instance, you can easily screw 2 screws in here to a 2x4 and just put it on the side of your bench and use it as a rib dimpling yoke. It does have strength. Not as much as our Super Duty 1-inch yoke, because 1 inch is a lot less distance to flex, and the Super Duty yoke is 1 inch thick, where this is 3/4 inch thick. So the flex will be a little bit more if you pour all the power of your squeezer into. But if you're gonna use the squeezer with a 3-inch yoke to dimple your ribs, you can do it easily with this one, bolted to the side of the table or bolted to a 2x4 that you can just clamp into the side of the table and sit on a stool or a chair. And of course you get you a foot operated valve for $15 from Amazon, like the link that I'm gonna leave for you on this video, and you can just dimple away and finish your job a lot quicker and certainly a lot more accurate with our 3-inch yoke. And this is a new product. It's a 4-inch Super Duty yoke that have the rib dimpling option on it. And it is the same like the 1-inch yoke, but it have 4 screws here and 2 for mounting on the bench this way. It is super strong. But it have a hole in it, right here. So what can you do with it? This is like a dimpling die. So this goes right here. Now you can see the unique shape right here. This part is just tiny little less in height than the flat on your dimple die. So it will go deep and dimple, and you'll clear this part of it here. And I left it that way so it would stay thick and strong. Now, here's another option that you have. Sometimes my die is a little bit hard because I leave this tight so it doesn't fall off. It's the same thing with the riveting die. This part is just a little lower, so you can actually use it to go in and rivet 4-inch deep. So this yoke, like if you don't have our 4-inch no-hole yoke, and you don't have our 1-inch Super Duty rib dimpling option yoke, this will do the job of both. I haven't put it on the website yet. I don't know how much it's going to cost because this is a lot of material and a lot of machining. So, but expect it to go on our website soon. The last item that we actually manufacture is the squeezer magnetic pin. If you look closely here, you will see 2 super magnets and an O-ring. That O-ring is to keep it from slamming because the magnets are very, very brittle. And if it slams against other pieces of steel or something, it will crack the magnet. So the O-ring keeps it from slamming. So that's what it does. So the magnet holds it into place. The pin itself is a 60 Rockwell dowel pin. Extremely strong and extremely hard. So if you have been breaking those pins that have the groove and the O-ring, and they are just so difficult to deal with because they get caught in there and you have to get pliers and put, don't waste your time. You're supposed to be building an airplane. So you don't have time to fool with this stuff. If you broke one of those, get a set. Because changing yokes and all that stuff is a breeze, because you put that back in and you're done. You don't have to fight with it. When you try to take it out, you just push it from one side, it comes right out. No fighting anymore with the squeezer pin. Now for the items that we don't make, but we gotta be selling on our website, just to save you money. It's just kind of appreciation to what you guys are doing for me. The Haas buffing wheel. The deburring wheel from Haas is the Haas don't make those things. Haas is a multi-billion-dollar company, and I'm a member because I bought so far 4 Haas machines. That's the same machines that Vans use in their factory to make parts for your airplane. So Haas provide this, to make it easier for machine shops. And I buy this thing for like $28 or something like that. And I'll be selling it, of course, on my website for like $35, just for the handling part of it and the headache and so forth. I believe this is sold on Cleveland's website for $50. So you save $15, I'm happy and you're happy. I order them because I have membership with Haas, and I get to buy from them as much as I want with free shipping and all of that. So anyhow, so this thing, and it works really well. I use it like on steel all the time. And it's one is enough for the entire build. You don't need to buy the media. The fine will last you the entire time. Even if you use it to hog some material off of the thick aluminum stuff, there's nothing to it. I use it on steel all the time. So this will be just as a convenience for you guys. I don't want to make any money. I don't make any money off of it. That's one item. The other item that I think that is kind of good as well is the deburring tool. This deburring tool from Haas is all you need. You can pull it out, make it as long as you want to, and it comes with one blade and 10 spares. Okay, I'll probably be selling this for like $16, $17. I got them for like $15 on Haas's website. I believe something similar to that on Cleveland's website is like over $25 just for the tool, and it might come with one blade. I never bought it actually, because in my business as a machinist, I use them all the time. And these blades are high-speed steel. They are not regular whatever they sell that's kind of weak and it will dull out or anything. That one blade will last you your entire build probably, but each one of those come with 10 extra blades. I know Cleveland sell them for $5 each, but this one comes with 10 more blades, so you can build like 11 airplanes. So that's another item I'm not making. It's just a convenience for you guys. If you want it, I give these a lot when people buy machines. I put one or two things in the box just as an appreciation. So we got one more thing that we use in machining all the time, which is the Scotch-Brite pen. Yeah, it's written on it Haas, but believe me, it comes from Scotch-Brite. Haas don't have a factory that makes Scotch-Brite pen, and this is the grade that you want, the maroon one. And I get these for like $1 each, and I'm gonna put them also on the website for like $1.50 each versus $3 on other websites. I'm not looking to make money off of these things like the other websites, and I really don't blame them if they charge these things, these kind of prices, because this is their main business. They don't make anything. They just buy stuff and sell it to you. And here is another point that I really would like to emphasize with you guys when you're buying tools, package deals. I make package deals on really great tools that you're gonna use all of it. And I am happy to make these package deals because it saves me time, because I don't have a ton of employees, you know. So you really need all the stuff that comes in a package deal. And you get very deep discount when you do buy like the card one or the CAD one with the yokes and stuff like that. You're gonna need those yokes. And these are the best in the market, and I challenge anybody. These machines, for the price that I have them for, I challenge anybody that will be able to make it and sell it at these prices and make it good, because this, if it's not, everything here is made on CNC machines. And I am the one that makes them myself. So when you're buying a package deal, don't just buy a DR-DD2 for the convenience of having the package and be inconvenienced for 2 years. You got to think about that when you are buying the package. So when you do that, the package, you have an option that says, I don't want this, or I don't want that. So don't buy the deburring tool and just pay too much for it, or pay $3 for each Scotch-Brite pad when you can only pay like $1.50 here, or this thing here, pay $50 when you can buy it here for $35. I don't want to make money from you on these things. My income comes from making great tools that will help you build a better airplane in record time, because you're going to do everything right from the first time. You don't have to go fix something that is messed up because the tools doesn't have the capability that you really need as an amateur builder. You've never done this before. Even the people that have done this before, they would rather have a better tool. And let me tell you just one last thing before I close this video. I have a customer in California. I swear to God, this is a true story. This man builds an RV-8. Then he thought, man, I want my wife to sit right next to me. Yeah, he had enough of the RV-8, so he sold it and built an RV-7. Then he said, my God, I need just a little bit more room. I'm gonna build an RV-14. So he sells the RV-7 and he starts building an RV-14 now with experience on 2 different RVs, and he's building his 3rd one. You know, this guy is really good with a rivet gun. And so he builds this immaculate RV-14A. As soon as he finishes that airplane, a guy walks up and say, wow, and he offered him so much money. He could not turn it down. It literally paid for another RV. So he sold his 3rd airplane, which is RV-14A. And when I talked to him, he had just went to Eugene and picked up the entire RV-14A that he ordered. The entire thing. And he brought it home and he started to work on it. This is when he saw the conversion kit for his DR-DD2 and said, wow, my God, I don't have to do this anymore. So he sends me an email. And like 30 minutes later, he says, and it was on a Saturday. So he says, I'm sorry, I couldn't wait to hear the answer from you. I want one of those things right now. I said, don't worry, I'll send you one. And I sent him the conversion kit for the DR-DD2. You should see the message that he sent. It says everything, which is, I wished I had that 3 builds ago. And here's a tip for you. And he turned me on towards the foot pedal. He says, I got that for $15 and it works magnificent with your conversion kit. So tell the rest of your customers about the foot operated air valve. Guys, if you hung on with me throughout that entire video, I think it's probably past an hour now of a video, but it shows you everything that I make. So please think about buying the proper tool. Don't shortchange yourself. Those tools is going to help you so much, build a so much better airplane in a record amount of time, because you're going to do everything right from the first time. You don't have to go drill out rivets and stuff like that. The control surfaces is going to look just absolutely fabulous from the outside, especially because everything is consistent, and that's all I can say. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.